Well, Razorback fans, you can't expect to go undefeated unless you win the first game. And that's what Razorback basketball did last night. So let's recap it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I'm also the host of Out of Bounds. You can catch every weekday afternoon from 1 to 4 on 103.7 The Buzz and 103.7thebuzz.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Hope everybody else is having a wonderful Tuesday. I know I am. Trying to make it have a weird transition or anything, but it's amazing just how much there's going on to try to keep up with everything and how much fun it is to have Razorback basketball season upon us and officially underway, officially starting up. And we'll talk some football and some updates from Sam Pittman and a question that I know some of you have asked me about, and I would like to give my opinion on the matter too. So we'll dive into that here after a while and here just a little bit. But I wanted to start with Razorback basketball taking care of business in game one against Alcorn State, which I don't think is surprising to anybody as far as the way that they needed to take care of business and the way that they needed to win, because Arkansas did exactly what they were supposed to do. They won 93-59 in this game. Arkansas had a 24-point lead at halftime. Never really was in doubt, never was really close, and Arkansas takes care of business and gets off to a nice start. The Razorbacks shot 52% from the field overall, which is a great percentage, 40% from three-point land, going 12 of 30. So, I know that it's got a long way to go this season, but if you're telling me that this is where it's going to be at is a 40% three-point shooting team, night in, night out, I'm going to take that all day long. But Arkansas did a pretty good job of shooting the three. And free throws, needs to improve on that one. 68% for Arkansas. Did go 25 of 37 in this particular one, but had some guys perform. But it was really just a few guys that were really doing the missing, and that was Denijay Harris, Bay Fall, missed 4. Harris missed 3. You had also L. Ellis go 1 of 2. Caleb Battle went 8 of 9, so he did a good job. And then Jaylen Graham went 0 of 2. So, yeah, just got to work on the free throw shooting there, and we'll get to more specifics for the players too. So, 15 turnovers compared to 16 turnovers for Alcorn State. Still got to shore that up a bit. Arkansas did a great job rebounding in this game. 44-26, Arkansas out-rebounded Alcorn State and had 14 offensive rebounds, which is incredible. But only 8 second-chance points. So that's a little bit frustrating, just considering how many second chances you had at it. The bench really performed well with 49 points for Arkansas. They also had 4 blocks, 10 steals, and 20 assists. So that's a really good thing that you like to see for Arkansas. 20 assists to 15 turnovers is still a really great ratio. Anything above 1 is always going to be great. So good team performance overall. And the scores that led the way is Caleb Battle. I mean, you can see exactly why he's such an offensive threat and why he was able to score so much when he was at Temple. He finishes the game with 21 points, goes 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 6 from three-point land, went 8 of 9 from free throw land. Also had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 turnovers. But still an overall really good job out of him and getting the offense going too. Tremont Mark has a very efficient game, which I think is just what we're going to come to find out about him. 16 points for him, goes 6 of 8 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. He had 4 threes in this game. So he was really feeling it, and also brought in 3 assists with only 1 turnover. And Trevin Brazil was the only other player that was able to get into double digits. But again, in a very efficient game, he had 13 points on 4 of 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from three-point land, and 6 rebounds. So good games out of those guys overall. Devo Davis went 5 and 5 and 5. He had 5 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and no turnovers. So that's a great game out of him. I think he only ended up playing 24 minutes, something like that. So just a solid performance from Devo. Again, efficiency is where it's at. And honestly, as much as that was really impressive. Those were really impressive performances out of all those guys, and going to give the kudos and the tip the hat to them and everything. But to me, the guy that I was really impressed with was Jaylen Graham, because we know Jaylen Graham's been battling with injury so far this year, or at least leading into this game. He didn't play in the exhibition game against Purdue. We know that it was back issues that he was having to deal with. And if I wasn't mistaken, it sounded like after the Purdue game, Muss really made it sound like Jaylen Graham, it could be somewhat serious. Don't really know how long he's going to be out, but it could be in an extended period of time. Well, I got to see him in practice a little bit, and then we got to see him kind of warming up before the game. Full dress. I was like, okay, well, maybe he's okay. Maybe he'll have a little bit of a play here. Maybe there'll be something like that. And lo and behold, he gets into the game and not only gets 8 points on 4 of 6 from the field, but gets 8 rebounds. 8 rebounds. No turnovers. No fouls. Played 14 minutes, gets 8 points and 8 rebounds. That's what I would love to see so much from Jaylen Graham. Like, that is the Jaylen Graham type of game that I want to see him have. Like, I'll take if he goes for 20 points and everything. But when you're talking about a guy who's been dealing with a back injury and coming in and scoring 8 points, 4 of 6 from the field, and a guy who's supposed to be extremely good offensively with his game, which he is, that's all well and good. But the one thing that Muss and Graham both have been talking about, what they have to work on, what they have to get him to do and continue to improve on, has been rebounding. They have been hammering that point home from the get-go. Ever since you had Jaylen Graham coming back for another year, it has been about rebounding, getting rebounding where it needs to be. And so to see him lead the team with 8 rebounds and 14 minutes of play is a great sign that he not only came back and wanted to improve his game, but he has been taking that coaching and he's been focusing in on that completely. So I was really happy to see Jaylen Graham get in and really happy to see him, maybe even make a reason for him to be playing at the center position. Mekhi Mitchell has been dealing with injury for a bit too. He only played 4 minutes in this game. So you could be seeing something to where if Jaylen Graham is able to give you a consistent effort like that, could we maybe see him being at the 5 in the starting rotation? Could your starting 5 maybe end up being where you have L. Ellis, Tremont Mark, Devo Davis, Trevin Brazile, and Jaylen Graham? I don't think it's the most absurd thing I've seen and the most absurd thing I've heard of, but I would love to see that. But a lot of players got a lot of running in, a lot of run time. Plenty of players. I think everybody on the team played, even Cade Arbogast and Lawson Blake. So they got in. Jeremiah Davenport didn't have a great game shooting. He went 1 of 6 from the field and 1 of 6 from 3. Like, all 6 of his shots were from 3. Did have 3 rebounds and 3 assists, though. No turnovers, so that was good. Had a great pass and dunk over there to Trevin Brazile, which was so good to see Brazile back. He had 3 dunks within like 5 minutes of the game. So you could just see that he's just a next-level player, and you see why. But you had Devo lead the way with 5 assists. L. Ellis also had 4 assists out of him. And honestly, Ellis and Battle were the ones that had the most turnovers at 3 apiece. But still, I had a 20 assists to 15 is always going to be something I'll take all day long. All day long. Now, in this game, it did get a little chippy and did have Trevin Brazile get ejected from the game for leaving the bench area, going out onto the court because it was getting a little heated out there. And Caleb Battle got fouled pretty hard by Willie Anderson, I believe is his name. And they got a flagrant 1 foul. But when the deal was going on, and obviously you want to go up and protect your guy, is when Trevin Brazile left the bench area, kind of, make sure he's all good. And then he ended up getting ejected for that matter. Muss also got a technical, so he's in good form. I think we talked about this on my live stream for basketball. It's like, what is the over-under set for the amount of ejections this year? I think I put it at 2.5, and everyone's like, oh man, that's way too high. I was like, well, you're already at 1. So 2 more in this year and we'll have hit the over. But it's great to see because Caleb Battle was the one that got fouled hard. And then he got fouled like pretty quickly after the game and the fans were getting into it. But you can just tell Caleb Battle, and being where he's from and being in the areas in the Northeast he's from, he's got some scrappiness to him. He ain't going to back down from anybody. But, it was definitely getting some chippiness out there. But when you're a good team like that, when you're wanting to impose your will and you're wanting to have a little personality to go along with it, that's the way you're going to see this game go many, many different times. So good to see, though. Good to see. Took care of business. And also something I thought that Muss said, which was really fascinating to me, was him talking about how his team's as healthy as they've ever been. Like, which is saying, or as healthy as this team has been with these group of guys, which is great. Because we know Brazil's coming off that injury. We know Graham's been battling with his stuff. Mekhi Mitchell's been battling his stuff. But for them to be as healthy as they are now, that's a good sign. So, yeah, continue to get better, continue to improve. And, again, you did what you were exactly what you were supposed to do, and kudos to you. We're going to ask a question about Kenny Guiton, the offensive coordinator for Arkansas right now, and should he be the permanent head coordinator for Arkansas on the offense here in just a second. But first, I got to tell you, though, folks, you got to score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's right, $150 if your team wins. If you're thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the team action right now, and the app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NFL season. It's FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. This was a question I got asked by a few of you who were following me on social media, but also from my radio show and dealing with Kenny Guiton. Because I played the video yesterday, the excitement surrounding Kenny Guiton and how everyone just felt so good for him and for his ability to put together that game plan. It was just, again, it was an awesome moment for anybody that was involved in it. But anybody that was there, it was just an awesome moment. And so Sam Pittman met with the media yesterday, and we'll get to also some injury updates, some important things that he talked about too. But one of the deals that he was asked about was, is Kenny Guiton a candidate for the full-time job as the offensive coordinator at Arkansas? And Sam Pittman responded with, absolutely. I don't know how he could have done a better job than what he did on Saturday. So this is an interesting thing to me, because you can take this a lot of different ways. You can take it in a lot of different directions, just kind of depending. But I look at it as the way that Kenny Guiton was able to call the game and see the players reacting to him. You want to give him all the love and all the credit for that. But you also don't want to take it at one game. And I think that Sam Pittman understands that. It's like you just can't take it at one game. Now, if you continue to see the offense get better in the final 3 games of the year and still put up some numbers, put up some yards, put up some points, and the team loves him and the team goes around him and loves what he's doing, then okay. Then let's do it. Let's do what it takes to keep him around and to give him that job. But it's at the same time, it's such a difficult situation. Because say if the best case scenario goes is that Arkansas wins out and their offense is looking really good and they go 6-6 and they go to a bowl game. Say if they win that 7-6, the best year, but still could have been a lot worse, and solid year overall. You make it to a bowl game, you're salvaging the season. Then you have a lot of questions about, okay, so who's going to be your quarterback next year? Because KJ is in a position to where he could go pro, but I don't know if that would be something he'd actually get drafted in right now. And he technically could transfer, but you don't think that he would want to do that either. But you also know that you would more than likely want to keep KJ Jefferson. So would Kenny Guiton be the guy that you would want to keep in order to keep KJ Jefferson? Or if Kenny Guiton left and you try to bring somebody else in, would KJ Jefferson then leave? Or would you even want to approach it that way? Do you want to keep an offensive coordinator that you may not be too sure about? But the positive is that you end up keeping your quarterback, your QB1 that you care so much about. Like, these are the balancing acts that's going to have to go along with it. And especially if you're Sam Pittman, because you know that next year is going to be the year. The year you have to go forward. The year you have to take steps. And if you don't, you're going to lose your job. So knowing that it's the crucial year that you're going to be in, can you really afford to just say, well, I'm going to Guiton, even though he's done a good job, I'm going to move on, go to some other offensive coordinator for maybe a year, risk losing my quarterback, risk losing some other players too. And maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but I just don't think that that's going to be the right option or the option that anybody wants to find themselves in. So it's quite a particular situation. I don't want Sam Pittman deciding if Kenny Guiton is going to be the offensive coordinator right now. He needs to decide after the season is over. I think we are all on board with that. We all understand that. We all agree. We should at least all agree that that's the right move. But you also give him 100% chance at getting it, where if he continues to have great game plans and get Arkansas's offense back on track. Because here's another thing too, folks. Like, I'm not saying that Arkansas's offense is fixed. Still got problems. Still got issues. But if that was the worst we're going to see this offense was against Florida the rest of the season, where they can get better and they can go up against maybe some teams that give them that confidence in playing at home too, playing in the home environments. Like, I don't see why you don't 100% not only give him the job, but be excited about him having the job. Because he was able to, polish this turd up and make it into a really great thing. So I think you have to almost give him the job and be excited about it. I would be. Like, if Arkansas finished 4-0 the regular season and their offense got up to the point where they were averaging 35 to 40 points a game and being effective, I'd 100% be down. 100% be down. Continuity is important, especially in recruiting, especially in transfers and everything. So I don't want Sam Pittman to make his decision right now. I don't want that. But I do understand the complexity that it is and that it can be and that it might end up being. So let's just hope that it all works out. We don't have to worry about it. And Arkansas ends up going 6-6, right? Like we all wanted them to, and we all expected them to. I know I'm going to be at the Auburn game this weekend, and maybe you are too, but maybe you're also a little nervous because you don't have tickets. Well, luckily, Gametime is going to be able to help you out with that. The Gametime app is the best place to get all of your tickets for any event, whether it's a sporting event, a concert, a show, whatever it is, comedy even. You can get it all with the Gametime app. Because with this game going to be coming up, some of you may have tickets or maybe some of you want tickets. It's not saying it's going to be 76,000 people packed in there, but maybe you want a little bit of a nicer seat, or maybe you're looking for something in the SEC club. They're going to have those available for you, and they're always going to make sure that they give you the best price and with no hidden fees. So whatever price you see on the app is the price you're going to get. And what's an also really cool thing is you get to view it where your seat would be and what it looks like. So Gametime app is the only place to go with when it comes to all those, all the tickets that you need. That's the place that you need to go and do it with Gametime. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets online. Get them with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. A little injury report update for Arkansas and some of the players, which I really hate to be the one that, that talks about this with tight end Ty Washington, because I really like Ty Washington. I know everybody liked Ty Washington. Such a good player for Arkansas, and was always, again, I called him the series opener, because it seems like every game he always did his best when he was like opening up the series and had some big plays just like he did against Florida. But unfortunately, he is going to have to have surgery done, is what Sam Pittman said. And that's really sucky, because you already had Luke Haas being out for the season-ending injury and how good he was. And then Ty Washington was able to do some stuff, and now he's out. So hate to see that. But Sam Pittman says they're going to move Hunter Talley up. And it also gives some opportunities to Shamar Easter. People forget about him, but yeah, Shamar Easter. But Hunter Talley says that Hunter Talley knows the offense better than the other guys do. So we'll see. We will see on that. Andrew Armstrong was also the one that got hurt against Florida, where it's a scary thing where he got pass interference or interfered with on the catch, and it looked like he was going to have a catch for a touchdown, but then the back of his head hit the turf, and it looked like he was knocked out unconscious, and it just gave me awful vibes of the Tua injury from I guess was it last year or the year before, where he had his fingers that went and did all that. It was just a scary moment, but it looks like he's going to be okay. Sam Pittman said that we'll know a little bit more at the practice, and said that whether he's going to be cleared from his headache, which he does have a headache, but they said that they think he's going to be fine, which is great news. Great news, because, again, that was a pretty scary thing. Patrick Kutis is the other one who started each game, and 8 of them being at right tackle. He has a high ankle sprain, but it doesn't look like he might be available against Auburn. So that's going to be big. I know the offensive line has had their issues already, but you can't afford to lose any more depth at that. But it looks like Tykeus Crawford maybe will step into that position. They have some other guys too, and Anthony Booker was the other one that got injured, but Sam Pittman also says he's going to be fine. So that's good. I mean, the only one that's really unfortunate is the one with Ty Washington. So I hate to see that. I think everybody hates to see that. But hopefully he ends up being okay, and hopefully he ends up being a full recovery. But it could have been a lot worse. But we know at this time of year, you're going to need all the players you can get. We'll see how the tight end position is impacted, where 2 of the better skill position guys that you had in that position just out for the year. So very, very unfortunate for that. But appreciate everybody listening in to Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at BuzzJohnNabors for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have, and we'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.